How y'all doing? It's Christmas season. Yes, I just wanted to just come in and just chat with you all this evening. I know I had a day mad this Monday this morning with the little bitty ones. It's all about them right now. It's really all about the little bitty ones right now. This is the time of the year. You know, I'm going to get into it. I'm not going to wait on anybody like I always do. I really don't wait on people to come in here with me. I just try to just flow. Okay, get this thing done and over. How you doing? How you doing? Hit the like button. Yes, I just wanted to just greet you all this evening. As I said, I'll be back with you. I didn't really have time to be on here with you earlier today. Like I said, I was in the classroom. It was Monday Madness for me. A lot of the teachers are just like not trying to show up for work right now. I don't know. I guess teachers are like, yay, I got my own family to think about and trying to stay healthy for the holiday. So with these parents dropping these children off, sometimes these children noses are running. They running fevers. They not feeling well, but parents are still bringing them in the building because parents got to go to work. Some have to go to work, and some just want to get a break. So they just don't really want to be like, hey, it's Monday. I'm gonna try to slip my little one in there so I can get me some rest because parents are stressed. They stress. It's a lot on them. And, because I blame, some things on the fact that I think we are enabling parents to be on the job like they should with their little ones. Me, myself, personally, if I had a child, unless that child has some kind of disability as far as like they can't really walk, I would say maybe be a little cripple or whatever. And I know that that child needs a little bit more extra assistance. When it comes to potty training, um, you know, I think I wouldn't put my child in school or any center until I could get my child to actually talk, and also if my child was like having those kind of problems around that area, because I'm just funny about potty training. And I told when they put me in that classroom, I said the children, because I was working with children from ages 3 and 3.5 or whatever like that, and these children have special needs or whatever like that. And then I said, are they potty trained? you know, because that's why I stopped working in child care, daycares, and things like that. Because a lot of times when you're in a daycare center, you are going to work with children from infants to 1 year olds, 2 year olds, and things like that. And I'm really not, unless a child have an accident, that's a different story. But I'm not really into the diapering type of thing. I do that because of to protect myself, and also for the child's sake in a way, because that's just too much physical touching, and you don't know who's touching your kids or whatever like that. So it's always good to at least look into potty training your children before you put your children in a public school setting. Because what I am dealing with in a public school setting for is an early care center in a school setting, but classrooms, I'm sorry, and everything. And most of the kids that do come there, they have special needs. They have IEPs and they have autism and things. We have typicals there, yes, because the ones who do have these so-called IEPs and special needs or whatever are supposed to pull from the typical children or whatever. Some things like that. But anyway, but we service those type of children. And I'm just like, and some of these kids are very big and heavy and da da da, and eating solid food and all that other stuff. So I'm like really funny about potty training. I mean, not potty training, changing, you know, diapers, or pull ups or whatever like that, where the child is wearing certain you know, underwear. But I would, that's me. I just would tell parents and everything, you need to, and they need to make that mandatory. They need to be a little bit more stricter about that when people are bringing their kids into an early learning center or into an early learning school facility, whatever. I think, you know, you need to work with your children on knowing how to use and systems. Like they need a little assistance, but not too much touching from other people. Like you're gonna have to wipe them, of course. But that's just who I am. But anyway, y'all. So it was a Monday madness for me. I was in a classroom today because the teachers were out. One of the teacher for that classroom was out, and the young lady that was in the classroom couldn't be by herself because of the fact that because she's not a teacher, she's a parent, so she really couldn't be alone. So there's somebody needed to be in there to assist her and somebody who's qualified, which was me. So I went in there and everything because I do have a teacher's, you know, certificate, degree, whatever you want to call it. I do have that, so I had to go and cover that classroom with her. So that's what I did today. As I was sitting there observing the children, this is one little boy. He just was very, very interesting. That he can actually spell Universal, Pixar, all these different movie. Mm, oh God, what are they considered to be? Well, anyway, he just knows all the names of these places, and he taught me some of them because I didn't know really much about Pixar or anything like that. So anyway, he was just interesting. This 3 year old, he's a 3.5. He's going to be 4, but he was 3.5, and I tried to share that with you, even let you see him in doing a video. I couldn't show you the children faces because I can get in trouble for that. But I just wanted to see some of the work that I do and some of the children that I work with. And it's interesting, very interesting. And that was it, So I just said, let me come with y'all tonight and you know, have this conversation. Yes, this is the time of the year. This is the most wonderful time. It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. And I've been sharing and talking to, people today and everything. I went inside one of the local stores today and I was talking about, Christmas ain't how it used to be because people are now stressing too much. You can see the devastation on people's faces now, stressed out about whatever is going on in their life. And some things that they really don't, I don't know if they have any control over it, or sometimes life just deals us a certain hand, and some things we just got to try to pray through and to survive. And it is what it is. Now, I was talking about the fact that people today are now more burying their children than their children burying them. Why is that? Because we want to live by our own standards, and instead of the things that was biblically giving to us, to bring up a child on the right way he or she should go. When they get old, it won't depart from them. And the thing was interesting to me because somebody came to me and said that parents don't get it doesn't come with instructions how to be a parent. I said, oh yes it do. Yes it do. But the thing is that we want to live by our own standards. You know what I'm saying? If you follow the instructions given to you from the Bible, it won't stress you so much. You won't worry so much. You won't have to fear so much. You won't have to, be stressed out so much. Because this is why God said, bring these children unto me, and when they get old, it won't depart. And also about raise up on the child on the right way he or she should go. Whatever. You know how in Proverbs 22, verse 6, the reason why God gave us those instructions, the Bible is the meaning. Before, these are things, instructions. Bible means biblical instructions before life ends. That's the meaning of that book. It's all there to give you guidelines, to guide you through life, to give you a compass, to give you, like I said, principles to live by. We want to live by our own standards. And when we don't listen to what God is telling us, and we don't pray, and we don't believe, and we don't read it and give it our daily word, there's something there for everybody to live by. People want to say, well, I don't believe in getting married. Then if you don't believe in getting married, then I don't believe that you should. And I'm just saying, if you don't believe in marriage, then why have children? Why are you doing this to this unborn? Hey, stand up. How are you, love? How are you? Yes, I got to get back to you. Yes. And I'm like, and I had this conversation with somebody, and some people was like saying, well, you know what? Why should it affect you? Well, yes, it affects all of us. For the way you believe in your immorality, you know what I'm saying? The things that you want to do immorally, somebody's going to pay for that. God reigns on the just as well as the unjust, boo boo. And also, that if I don't tell it to you to help you, and I'm just trying to help you along the way, if you don't believe in certain things, then why put yourself in a position to hurt another innocent life? Maybe you might not want to believe in it, but maybe what I'm saying here can help somebody else. You know, it's deep, y'all. It's deep. But when you try to tell people like that, they got their worldly standards. They don't want to hear nothing. God already showed you, I'm God. I control the heavens and the earth. And people are in a living hell here on earth because they don't want to live by biblical principles. They want to live by their own standards. And I'm just like it is what it is. So anyway, what I was saying when I was speaking to these people that I was inside of the stores and stuff like that, and I'm looking at the devastation and the unhappiness and just people just stressed out about life right now. But you're here. What are you stressed about? This is a time to rejoice because you're still here. And you know what? We all leaving here one day. We don't know the day, the time, the hour, but we all going. Death comes like a thief in the night. But each day that God has given you to be here, rejoice. Rejoice. Now, I know it's hard for some people to get through some of the things they going through because they just been through something. Easy said than done when you lose a loved one and through tragedy or whatever. Yes. That is hard. That is hard. But when you know you gave your child, when you know you taught him or her right from wrong, and you stood on biblical principles, whether they take it as good or evil, whatever way they chose to go, long as you know you poured that into their life, long as you know you gave them that foundation, long as you know, and I'm not saying beat your child up or crucify your child, condemn your child and stuff like that with the word of God, and they going through things. There's a way to have conversations with a human being and with someone to let them know or even show them something as an example. Like, for instance, I just talked about the 10-year-old who took his mother out of here. And when I had to really carefully examine, read that story over and over again, and I had to listen to how many other ways it has been reported. I had to read articles, different articles. I had to, do some research on some news reporters, how they was reporting it on whatever channel from all different stations or whatever like that. At each and every last one of the stations, I got something new and different, of how this child came in possession of this firearm. I had to, I said, look, they want to try this trial as an adult. Before I speak on it, because it happened on November the 22nd or 21st or something like that. That was like, right before Thanksgiving time or whatever. And as I was listening to the story, I mean, listening to how it was being reported, this, the mom and everything and the son, and then I find out the kid did have had an unidentified mental illness. He was a troubled child. He did used to take balloons and stuff and full with gasoline. Where did he get gasoline from? I don't know. Well, 10 years old got a hold of gasoline to fill up with balloons and want to use the balloons to throw it like water balloons or whatever, and you know, set a fire. You know what I'm saying? Arsenic. And then the child also used to, abuse animals, like a dog and swing the dog tail until the dog would squeal and all this other stuff. All these other things this child would do, like harm animals, do all these things, and have all these angry outbursts and all these other things. And he also have older sibling or whatever like that. Mom had him like kind of a late age, probably in her late, because he was 10 years old. So mom could have had him like 34 years old. I wouldn't consider that. She had some experience of being a mother. Just put it that way. This wasn't like her first scenario. Because the child was 10 and she 44 years old. So I'm like saying, okay, I'm listening to the stories and I keep researching and reading and all this stuff. I said, no, this child here, the mother failed this child. I said, as much as I hate to say it, mom, like, put that trigger in his hand to shoot her. Because first of all, you got this troubled child that you're dealing with this anger and doing things to animals and doing things with water balloons to cause arsenic and filling it with gasoline and stuff to harm people, and just all doing these bad, mischievous things. Why would you have a firearm in his reach or around this child? The thing is that mom woke the child up early that morning, I guess, to go somewhere to his grandmother's, or with the sister, to go somewhere with the sister or something like this. And then he told the sister that he shot mom and he playing, and mom, whatever. And that's when they found out what he did. And then that's when the so-called, authorities were called and the investigation went on or whatever. And he shot her in the face or whatever. She must have bled out. And it just like, wow. And how did he get to this firearm that's supposed to be locked up in some case? How did this 10 years old even know the code to get into this case, to get to this firearm in the home? Why would you even have something like that in the house anyway, around a child is trouble? You know how many times I hear stories of children getting in the possession of a firearm. I heard about, I don't know, it happened I won't even say a couple of years ago. I think this happened back in sometime around 2010, maybe 2010 or 2013. This mother was inside of a Walmart or some kind of shopping store, and she had a gun on her. And a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old toddler child got a hold of the gun, pulled the trigger, and shot the mother and killed her in the store. You could Google it. You could look it up. Like the recklessness and the carelessness of adults with firearms, and how they put those things in the sight of children. Like a child won't be curious enough to see if this thing is going, they don't know the consequences, and just to play with it or whatever like that. Me, in the school I work at, we don't allow children to play with guns. We don't allow them to make guns. We don't allow them to even think about we're going to play cowboys and Indians, bang, bang, bang. We don't even want to put that in children. I just don't, I'm afraid of a gun. And I tell you the reason I'm afraid of a gun is because of the things that go on in the human mind sometimes. And when we going through anger and frustration, and something just might trigger you off, and you might say, don't get my gun. And something about a gun when you got it in your possession, when you could be just so, just another story I'm gonna tell you. This is deep. My sisters have a friend. Okay. She had this friend, and the friend had a daughter who got married to a military guy. And I think this happened in Virginia. And this thing that happened is that her and her husband had, I don't know what the argument, what was, why she came after her husband with a gun on base, on the army base, whatever. She came for him. Okay. And I remember her from a little girl, because I remember the little girl. I remember my sister, the friend of her mother, and everything else like that. And the little girl got very angry. I mean, wasn't a little girl anymore. She's a grown woman. You could Google it too. You can Google this story if you think I'm lying. And what happened is that she came after her husband with the gun because her husband might have done something. She caught him probably with another female, or maybe the marriage, I don't know what kind. Her marriage was troubled, and she probably was fed up. He probably disrespected her, and I don't know what it was that went on in the marriage. But when she came for her husband with that gun and shot the husband, and of course it happened on the army base, whatever, and she was told to put down the firearm, and as she had the gun in her hand, don't you know they fired and killed her? Okay. And of course the husband is alive, but she dead. And she was killed by the military police. The military, it was a really, the mother, I just saw her at my sister's, ex's, my brother-in-law, whatever, at his funeral, and she told the story of how it felt, just dealing with that loss and how he prayed her through and everything else, the tragedy. I'm not a gun lover. I don't like guns. I just don't care. I tell my husband in a minute, wherever you keep that thing, just keep it out of my sight. Because I never know when one day you might say something and upset me, and I can go up there and grab that damn gun and blow you away and regret it. It's just something I just rather. You want to do hunting, you could keep. It's just something about having guns around. I'm always thinking like, you might try to kill me, or we could get in an argument about something, and it happens. People, it happens. They said, well, guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns. Stupidest shit I ever heard. But I'm just say like this. Yes. If you got it in your possession and you angry about something in your mind, you never know when the mind gets sick and you just want to take your life or somebody else's life. Those things to me is just like weapons in the house and all that stuff. I said, my only weapon I have is Jesus. I just pray and pray, ask God to protect me from any hurt, any danger seen or unseen. Ask God to be a fence over me. Be a fence around me, be a tower over me. Cover me under the shadows of your wings, Lord. That is my protection. Even when I'm walking through the valley of death, I should fear no evil, for thou, you are with me. That should be my protection. That should be my protection. I'm just not a person who believes in guns. I can't say I love God and want to serve doing the devil's work too. Fearing that if somebody coming for me, because most times people get killed by their own weapons. If those are the things that you possess, and those are the things that you bring around your life, around your home or whatever, you're looking for these things to come into your life. And it's just, I'm just saying, y'all. But that story, that tragic story of that mom dying by the hands of her own child with a gun, and that toddler got a hand of a gun, shot her, and did it accidentally and shot the mom and killed the mom right there in the store. I don't know when the gun went off and where it hit. How many children get a hold of their parents' gun or somebody's gun in the household and may have even killed another child by an accident? I'm just saying. That's why I would never want a job as a police officer, security, none of that. Okay. I will play mentally crazy, ill, crazy, whatever, get me some social security if I'm get that desperate. But I just don't do the gun thing. I'm just not into the work with guns. That's not my thing. And it's kind of weird. And well, you gotta be afraid in this world. You know what? Like I said, death come like a thief in the night. I just pray to God that I'll never have to die through any tragedy of death by somebody accidentally shooting me or putting myself in harm's way to be shot. In places that, can bring tragedies like that to happen. If I see this, there's times I walked out of stores and a shooting took place right in front of me. And you know what? I'm telling you, it was like I hear the pow, 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 pow. I just jumped right in my car like it ain't nothing, turned it on, and just keep it moving. Didn't even look to go see where that gunshot was coming from or where the danger. I just jumped in my car. That's nobody but God protecting me because He brings me that peace, that shield of protection. Why would I run in? I hear the gunshots and I'll be like, oh, where them gunshots going? Oh, what? Let me go. You got some people that go do stuff like that. You got people that do that. They run right there and just to see what's going on. I don't do that. I run right to my car calmly. So I'm thinking, and I just keep it moving. I go through some battlegrounds just about every day. People are like, you ain't scared? I said, I got Jesus with me. He's right beside me, walking right beside me. I'm be calling my husband, oh baby, come get me. I'm scared. I'm over it. Blah, 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 blah. He know the kind of soldier I am for the Lord. I'm just like, hey, if it's my time, it's my time. But I ain't trying to go no time soon, Lord. God, Lord, I want to be here for a while, but not through tragedy. But I'm just saying. And I was just talking about that today. Like this man told me today, I came in the store to go buy some waters for me and my coworker because I left my water at home. She didn't bring no water. There was no water working in the building. They had to shut down because there was a pipe broke in the building. One of the pipes. So they had to shut down water for some time in the building so they could do some work. So I had to go get some water. And there was, the water, like the water thing that we usually have in our building, like they fill up the water, the water bottles. There was none in the building. So I went to the store in the neighborhood, walked to the store in the neighborhood. So when I walked inside, I was singing the song. I think it was a Christmas song I was singing. It was on my heart and everything. And I was like, it was a Christmas. Oh my God, I now can't remember the song, but it was a song that was on my heart. And I came in and I started singing the Christmas song, and this lady turned around and said, she's like, I know, amen. And I was like saying, that's right, while we are here, we should rejoice and be glad in it. Or something I said, this is a time to celebrate hope, love, joy, peace throughout the world, bring good tidings and cheers and da-da-da-da. I know people are going to, the words just start flowing from my heart and everything. I said, God sent me out here to do this on this day. He sent me right in the midst of these people to lift up people's spirits. And this man came with his testimony about him, just the loss of his son battling with cancer. And his son didn't find out until it's too late. And he really couldn't treat it because it got spread so badly. It spread it so badly and he had to bury his son. And I was like, but Dad, think about it. At least you were knowing that he had an illness and he battled with an illness that you had to bury your child. That's something you was prepared for. I mean, he was gonna go. Just like I lost my sister last year, and around the Christmas season, her birthday, matter of fact, is tomorrow, and it was her birthday. God blessed her, my sister, to be here to be 60. My mother lived. My mother started young with her family, and I lost my mother, but at least I could say when I lost my mother, at least I lost my mother when I was like 40 years old. I had my mother 40 years of my life, and my mother never had to bury any of her children. None of her children, not even my nephew that got killed. My mother wasn't alive when he got killed, so she never had to bury him either. Her grandchild, her firstborn grandson, on top of that. When you think about the fact that all these mothers out here and burying their children, all these parents, these young children, I mean, young adult children, that when we want to live by our own standards, nobody wants to bury a child. Your child are supposed to bury you. Now, when children die through some tragedy or some death and everything, things that happened, like the Shanquilla thing that just happened, and her dad heart is really, really sad about it. He's still asking, for the justice of his daughter and everything. Why did she have to go like this? Why did they do this to my child? Why this? Why that? And you done it, you can. You don't have to mourn so long, but sometimes we got to come to the reality that sometimes, like I said, you did all you can for your children when they were here to protect them, and even want them to be careful in the places they go, in the people they surround themselves with, even how to pick friends and all of that stuff. There's some things we tell our adults and children, and sometimes they make their own choices. That, you know, he said he taught her everything. Like, he been in her life to teach her how to be good to people and humanity and everything else like that. And part of being in teaching your children humanity is also telling them how to be wise, to choose what kind of company of friends you hang around. Just sometimes, and I mean, I'm pretty sure Shanquilla didn't expect any of this. She didn't expect the kind of people she was surrounded with, to do the things that they did to her. These are people, like I said, she trusted. And tragedies like that also happen in life. But once you taught them the, basics, instructions before life ends, and you gave them that foundation, especially in the Lord, you don't have to mourn in the grave for so long. Because some things maybe God can use your children just so that they can, some things can happen just so they can be a blessing to others, who may not be listening. Because sometimes they say absent from the body, but present with the Lord. So when you got Jesus and you know him for yourself and you start to know Jesus, you don't go on too long for nobody. When my mother passed away and everything, yeah, of course I felt sad and I miss my mother. And there's days I do still think about her or whatever like that. But the thing about it is that when I think back about how long I had my mother for 40 years, and mommy was tired. And I let her go. She wanted to go. I could have done everything I can, made the choice to say, here, doctor, you could give my mother that surgery. I don't care what she said, this is going to save her life. But if my mother refused it and my mother wanted to go, she wanted to go. There's nothing more. I had to let her go. You know, sickness like that and everything. I didn't expect to lose my mother at the age that I lost her at 66 and me at 40. I didn't expect mommy to go so soon, like that soon in her life. But at least I could say I had my mother for 40 years. And she didn't have to bury me. That's the beauty of it all. But her mother had to bury her because my mother went before her own mother. My mother outlived her at least a year more, and her mother was on her sick bed, battling with life too. When my mother passed away, she lost her child through her battle with life. But my grandmother hung in there 2 more years right after my mother passed away. hmm Interesting, right? The last thing, and my grandmother had to bury my mother and my mother's brother, one of my mother's brothers. But when he was really, really young, though, when he died, he got hit by a car or whatever like that. The worst thing you want to do is bury your children. So you want to do as much as you can to keep them safe, and especially want to teach them the biblical principles before life ends. You want to teach them the basic instructions before life ends, and that's teaching them the Bible. You know, everybody deal with loss differently, but one of the most important things when you deal with loss is when you can read the Bible. And when somebody passes away, that you mourn, but your mourning will turn into joy. Your mourning will turn into joy. And that's what I came to understand when being a Christian after I mourned the death of my nephew. I went through the experience of losing him through gun violence and, that kind of way. We didn't harbor that stuff too long. We didn't stay too long trying to, you know, after a while, it just came to us 7 years later. This criminal, this thug, this murderer, whatever I want to say about it, the young man that took my nephew's life. Finally, after 7 years, we didn't keep trying to come again, look for a way to do this. We went to the court. They gave him whatever time they gave him, and we just left it as that. We didn't go crazy. We didn't just leave it in God's hands. We left it in God's hands. And the time has come that we were justified. By the Lord justified it. Yes, he did. When we stop trying to do things on our own standards and trying to figure out things and go for the revenge that we have to go for when people do things to us, sometimes we just got to leave it with God and move on with life. So when I was talking about that today, that made that man feel so much better. I said, your child didn't suffer very, you saw him going through his battle with cancer and suffering and everything. And this time just still remember him and the joy that you had while he was here with you on earth, and just still celebrate that you're still here. You're still here because ain't no telling. Like I said, death comes like a thief in the night. And this is the time of the year, the ending of the year, that we need to look back and say, thank you, God, for everything. We start from Thanksgiving all the way up and celebrate to the new year that God has given us. We will pray for the new year to come in and bring us blessings and joy. And, it's like we looking for better days to come each and every day. And don't feel so hopeless. And that's what Christmas, we supposed to feel hope. And also to rejoice that we're still here. We made it through another year. Because December is the end of the year, going into a new year. December's the last month on the calendar. So if you made it through, and even through some of the tragedies you've been through, I'm not going to stop celebrating and having a good, cheerful holiday. Only thing gonna keep me is death. You know what I'm saying? I ain't looking to go no time soon. Only death is gonna still take away my joy. But other than that, I'm still here. I'm gonna rejoice each and every day as we drawing closer and closer to the day of Christmas. This is Christmas season. Christmas started already. For me, it has. I don't know about you, but it already started for me. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I don't got time to be sitting around being depressed because my money ain't right. My money is tight. You know what I'm saying? Because I know God, he's magical. Boy. You just never know. I remember a job. I remember I lost a job in 2003, and the year was coming to an end, and I went on a job interview. It was a couple of days. It was like in December. I know it was December. I went on this job interview, and of course, my unemployment at the time was about to be exhausted. Okay. And I said, I gotta get a job for next year. My money is gonna be tight. It was Christmas. It was Christmas too, coming, and I was still trying to go on and celebrate my holiday. I still had the Christmas tree up, and I was having a pretty tough end of the year. The year, it was kind of getting kind of scary for me. You know what I'm saying? It was getting scary towards the end of the year because it was the holidays. I didn't know if I was going to be able to celebrate and do my little Christmas parties like I always give every year. I used to do with my family, throw a little Christmas party in my house, have everybody come over, the kids, the young people, whatever. So I was like, Dad, this year I ain't got no job. I'm on unemployment. And a blessing came. And never forget, I got the phone call on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, that I was hired. And I was to start on the 28th of December. I was like, praise Master Jesus. I was, hallelujah, glory be to your name, oh God. I didn't even expect, this is no lie. This was back in 2003. The ending and the closing year of 2003. That was a difficult time of the year for me because I just lost my job in April. Okay, it was around April, and that September, I went through something at the church, you know, with the church folks, and I was just like really going through in 2003. I thought I was going to lose my mind. Then on top of that, um, it was a tough year. My sister got married that year too, and moved to Chicago, whatever. And and she was taking my nephew away, and I was kind of like feeling sad, I wasn't gonna, you know, it was just a lot going on with me in 2003. And then, the loss of a job, and I was getting up. That summer, I just took a break and chilled and just said, let me just fall back for the summer. I didn't start doing my job search. I started my job search around um in September, I think it was. I think I started my job search in September, and I was like, dang, I ain't getting no hits, no nothing, no this, no that. I was going on interview after interview, going here, going there. Nobody was calling me. And then finally, that Christmas Eve, oh yeah, I was having a housing issue too because I kept getting these pending eviction notice for my rent being late. That was another thing that kept happening to me. I was going through in 2003. And then finally, that 24th of December, I got a call from my employer. You've been hired. I was glorifying Lord. Boy, my Christmas was beautiful that year. You hear me? So I'm just trying to say this to people like that's feeling like, oh, this is the end of the road for me. I ain't got no time for the holiday. I ain't buying this. I ain't buying. I'm not telling nobody to get all into spending money you really don't have. But one thing you need to do is be rejoicing that you're here. Because God ain't through with you yet. I'm praying, hoping that He isn't. That God is going to give you another day, another chance to be here. And you're going to survive through whatever situation you're going through in your life. I'm just saying. I'm sitting back here playing Robert Sylvester Kelly. Only God knows every year that he missed his Christmas being home with his loved ones. but he still have hope. He still have hope. And this is the most favorite time of the year for Robert Sylvester Kelly. And being that I support his music and I'm a fan and a supporter and whatever, you know, I'm just like celebrating him right now in the spirit of Christmas. I'm just celebrating him and letting him know that there is hope. We just got the news about what happened with Michael Avenatti, the man that went and lied and said the things what he did to Robert Sylvester Kelly. Now his karma has come. I don't want to rejoice too much in that, but right around this time of the year, that he won't be home for Christmas. That ain't funny, but hey, it ain't funny. But just to know that God is an on time God. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So we don't got to go out here and fight and get vengeance on nobody. Because God got this all covered. Because God is God. God is God. Okay? And this is the time of the year we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Those of you who do believe. I know I believe. You don't believe, then that's okay. But I believe. I believe. Yes. So anyway, y'all, your girl Casey McDaniel, I got to go. Get myself ready for another day tomorrow if God's willing. But you all have a blessed and wonderful evening and be happy, stay healthy, and be safe. Love you. Peace.